Good afternoon, everyone. What I wanted to do today is review a financial order of operations chart. I think it's always nice to get back to the basics, especially when you're kind of going through a period like we are right now, where we had a negative market return year going into another year that has a lot of uncertainty wrapped around it. A lot of times it's good to get back to the basics, as well as just review a good order of operations when it comes to your financial life. There are a lot of order of operations charts out there. Some are very simple, some are a little bit more complex. This one I think is very comprehensive in going through really these 6 steps we see up here at the top for you to think about and work through. So, what I'm going to do is I will link this image to the show notes on this. So, you'll be able to pull it up and see it as you whenever you want to review it. It is a fairly large file, so it's not necessarily easy to print off, but it is something you can pull up on your phone or pull up on a desktop and kind of review every now and again. But just starting through, we'll go through really these 7 steps up here. I said 6 earlier, but it's step 0 here. So step 0 is going to be kind of this phase: budget, reduce expenses, set realistic goals, then build kind of an emergency savings. Make sure we're taking advantage of any sort of employer plans, paying down debt, both high and moderate interest, saving specifically for retirement, additional savings for retirement, and then additional savings goals you might have. So, just kind of starting off, we'll go with this kind of black box section right here. Starts off with creating a budget. It's really a solid foundation for what you want to do with the rest of this. You want to make sure all your key expenses are met: mortgage, food, essential items. Make sure you're kind of taking note of transportation expenses, anything that might kind of go along with your working expenses, healthcare costs, and then minimum amount to pay down on debt if you are carrying debt in any way, shape, or form. Once you get through kind of that initial tracking of expenses and building budgets, you're really going into the next 2 categories, which is start building a small emergency savings. Ideally, probably 1 month of actual expenses would be good for this. Some say $1,000. It's hit or miss. It's whatever you want to shoot for. I know Dave Ramsey's really popular baby steps. His is $1,000 at that point. But again, it's either or. It's whatever works best for you. And then look at starting to pay down non-essential bills. So like cable, internet, phone, anything that's not an absolute essential. Make sure you're kind of taking note of those and make sure you're able to pay those. So a lot of times people will wrap in this non-essential bill into the budget side on here and just make this step a one-step process with building a budget before they go to employer plans. Again, do what's best for you, what's the best fit for you. You can easily wrap it up into the creating the budget on this section. It's just a matter of preference. And a lot of this too, what the best plan is the best plan that you can stick to over time. So if it's something where this doesn't fit exactly what you do, don't try and reinvent the wheel for yourself. If you're fine, your finances look fine, your financial plan looks fine, just keep doing what you're doing. Again, this is just a good refresher to go through if you've never done one of these before, or if you're just trying to get some motivation back in you to reset yourself. So after you kind of build that small emergency savings and check on those non-essential bills, you want to ask yourself, do you have an employer that offers a 401k, and does that employer's 401k have a match? If yes, take advantage of it. Go ahead and get the free money. You want to be doing that and take advantage of that. If they don't, then great. You can go ahead and move into paying down debt. If you have debt, you want to look at kind of that snowball mentality or the avalanche mentality. So you can either look at 2 different ways of paying off this debt. Go for the smallest amount of debt. Like, so if you have multiple credit cards, go for the one with the smallest balance on it. Hit that one first and build your way up and take that first debt payment, add it to the second debt payment, and snowball those payments. or you can look at it which one has the highest interest rate and start paying it down that way. A lot of times, if two have very similar interest rates, go for the smaller dollar amount. If you have one that's like $15,000, $20,000, will take you a while and it has a fairly large interest rate, but you have one that you could knock off in a month or two. I often say hit the month or two one first, get that kind of mentality of art. I'm really knocking out debt, so it doesn't seem like a really long snowball process there. But again, just evaluate it for yourself. And again, this is a general order of operations. So in some cases, if you have extreme debt, you may want to forego the 401k contribution to cover that debt in some situations if you're younger and you have time, but in a lot of positions, you want to get the free match if you can. So once you have that really high interest debt down, or those really big debts down, you want to go ahead and finish up that emergency reserve, get it for 3 to 6 months just in cash. Typically, I say if you're a two income household, 3 months is fine. A one income household, or a household where one income is the primary income by a significant amount, you probably want to go for 6 months of savings. After you do that, you can then go to kind of your smaller debts. And this is where these two can blend. You can knock all of these out before you finish up the emergency reserve. You can split them up like this. I think there is a lot of use in really trying to get those high interest ones down. And then this one, a lot of times, is if you have a car. If you have a car loan, I would not forgo the emergency savings to knock off a car loan. The reality is, a lot of people will just carry a car loan at some point in time. Just focus on getting it down and knocking it off as well. Once you have those kind of medium debts down, this is where we're starting to get to that next phase of really evaluating your retirement savings. So you want to look at your situation and say, all right, should I add to a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, if I am able to? Or should I look at doing more into like a retirement plan if I am not able to do a Roth IRA or traditional IRA? And then you want to go kind of this route and say, all right, well, are you expecting any large required purchases, specifically college? College is a big one in this one. Car is also another big one. This one, if you're going to need a car at some point in time. If you are, start figuring out how much you need to save for those. This might be something you save in like a 529 plan, or if it's a car, you save in a brokerage account, or you just save in cash somewhere in there. But it's going to be a variable amount of what you might need to save in this. If you don't have any of those big midterm purchases, are you doing at least 15% towards retirement? If you are, fantastic. We can move all the way down here. If you are not saving at least 15%, if you're only doing the minimum, that's that 401k match, then you want to look and say, all right, well, what's your 401k look like? Can you do it in there? Boom, great. Are you self employed? If you're self employed, you got to kind of look at your other options. So, SEP IRA, individual IRA, simple IRA, all of those are going to be there, but find a way to save. And again, when you get to these, all of this, if you have questions, reach out to an advisor, reach out to one of us. We'd be happy to kind of work through your situation and see what would best work for you. But now, once you're saving 15% into a retirement, account, into a retirement plan, if you will, we can go down to these kind of more specific goals. So, all right, do you have any health savings plan? So, do you have an HSA? If yes, let's start looking at maybe maxing out that HSA. Do you have children that want to go to college? If you do, well, let's maybe look at a 529. And I think it's important to point out with these, they're not do one then the other. If you would rather save towards a 529 plan rather than an HSA, start with the 529 plan before you max out the HSA. When you get to this level, your basics from all of this are pretty much covered. So when you're here, you're really just looking to say, all right, what's going to be the avenue I would like that extra money to go towards? What's going to be more important to me? Both of these have their benefit. It's very much going to be up to you at this point. Now, what other goals do you have at this point? Do you want to like plan to retire early? Do you have more specific goals? Do you have something like, do you want to get a boat? Do you want to get a really nice car, a specialty car, or something like that? Something that you just want to kind of enjoy. Some people will go for a more immediate goal, and I say immediate goal, maybe like a 5 or 6 or a 7 or a 10 year goal over a early retirement goal. And that's the question you have to ask yourself. Depending on which one of these you want to do, you can either find out ways to really maximize your retirement savings, or you can look for a way to save in like a brokerage account or pay down your house debt if you want to be debt free. Make sure all your vehicles are paid off, whatever that might be. If you didn't do those already, plan for a really big vacation. You can plan for it that route as well. Again, the main thing is once you have all of these steps on the forefront in place where you've built your base of a budget, you've built your emergency savings, you're taking advantage of a free match, you have your debt paid off, and you're in a good position financially from that standpoint. You're covering your basics for your retirement savings, and you're covering kind of your basics for college costs that you know is coming. Then you can add a little extra to college, add a little extra HSA, or go towards these other financial goals. But this portion down here, these purple boxes, it's where it gets more creative, it gets more fun, and you just have more freedom to really put your money where you would like to put it rather than really just covering your bases. We hope this has been helpful. Please look at our other videos, go through them. We have another video about kind of the introduction to financial planning. This is a really good part of it, and we kind of work this video into that one. So check it out. It gets a little bit deeper into more specifics on how you can achieve these goals and then different ways to think about achieving these goals. But this, again, is just a good order of operations, something to think about, to keep in mind as you start going through the process of building and creating your financial plan, or just to review every few years to make sure you're still on track and kind of provide some motivation for you. But I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.